Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to the almost famous sideshow known as Bigfoot Geography, where we like to discuss the phenomenon known as Bigfoot and all the places that he can be found. My name is Jaster I'm your host, and coming with me tonight is my wonderful co-host, Kazari Iwakura. How are you doing, bud?
Doing all right. I've had a pretty good day. Been doing a lot of home cooking, a little bit of cleaning.
Man, I wish I could have said the same thing, man. I've been over at work getting whooped up on. But
I realized that my mic is sensitive enough it can pick up noises from upstairs now. I'm seeing it on my timeline. Dad is hammering again away at the dishwasher again because he is refusing to buy a new one because he is insisting he can repair it. And we are like, part replacement number 4 or 5. And I'm like, Dad, you need to give up the ghost, please. I admire your tenacity and your handiness, but like,
things falling apart.
Yeah, it's on its way out. Please, Dad, just.
Well, tonight we are at a very special location, Bay City, Michigan.
That's right.
And we're doing this as a subscriber special. Little shout out to one of the guys that's been here the whole time. As soon as he caught on to us when we were like, I don't know, 5 subscribers or something, this man has been here the entire way. So this is for you, Austin. Thank you.
Yeah. We love you. Every time you're in our comment section, it makes our day. And the fact you're out here pounding the streets for us means the world to us. So we picked this one out just for you, bud. I know you've been asking us about the Kappa. That's a little outside our wheelhouse at the moment. We'll come around to it eventually. But we figured, hey, we're on a Bigfoot kick. Let's do a Bigfoot near him. So
I think our first mythological creatures episode does need to be the Kappa, though. I think
the main reason why I'm hesitant to do the Kappa is because I'm going to have to do research on a part of the internet in a language I don't speak.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the kind of places I would need to go to for that. And if I start looking for it on the English internet, I'm just going to get folklore and yokai tales, and that's not what I want. Because I know I've read Kappa sightings before. There is definitely like a precedence for them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like, I'm gonna have to put the set shade on and go a wandering, you know. So it's
for real. Like some of the craziest things that I've uncovered and shit like that's like mostly in the One Piece fandom. Honestly, has been from like people that have been able to do the translation work between the communities, and. We can try the Google Translate method, but Lord knows that's probably not going to be too fun.
I am a master of retranslating awkward word salads from machine translations, so...
It just sucks we don't have anybody that actually speaks the language.
Nope.
We'll get there.
I keep meaning to study it, but I never do. So anyways.
So, we're here to discuss one of the more viral Bigfoot videos that has surfaced probably in the last, wouldn't you say, 10 years?
Yeah, this is a really hot piece of Big footage.
The thing that makes this so contentious, I guess, or like the interesting part of this Bigfoot encounter is the fact that it still hasn't been debunked. Like, and it's been video analyzed like crazy. People have done much.
I know our man TT Thinker Thunker. He's taking a look at it. No Rocky Mountain Sasquatch.
I think he was the one that originally covered it.
Yeah.
At least as a Bigfoot entity, he was one of the first people on the scene with it. But we went through a deep dive on our lens where we kind of take a deeper look at the environment surrounding a Bigfoot occurrence, and man, did we come up with some stuff, okay? And a part of it is also thanks to Austin, because he was in the comments on one of our premieres talking about how the funniest part about this whole Bigfoot sighting is that the river this Bigfoot was crossing in is one of the source rivers for Flint, Michigan, i.e. it's dirty as all get out.
Yeah, no, I was thinking about this because we've got a little bit about the awful awful water systems in that area, and how it's been neglected federally, and both at a state level and a national level.
Oh, it gets deeper than that, bro.
And how families there, like, we're at the point where we're beginning to see the negative side effects of it on the children that are growing up there, and it really gets my gut. It really gets my goat, because this was like one of the first like political issues I can remember really being active for back when I was in in high school.
Right.
That was 10 years ago, and nothing has been done to fix this, and it's deeply disgusting.
It absolutely is.
And that's as far as I'm going to take it, because we try to stay out of politics on the podcast, unless it's, blatantly obvious stuff that we're not going to get shot at for, like, condemning.
Kids should have clean water, you know what I mean? I feel
like
that's pretty obvious.
Kids should have clean water. Genocide bad, come on. Whoever gets elected next, hit us with that infrastructure bill. Come on.
Yeah, right. That's
we put up $1 billion into developing, new forms of new ways to blow people up on the other side of the world every year. We can put like 10% of that towards fixing, our fucking waterways.
Oh, I absolutely agree. I agree. I will say though, it is pretty fucking cool that we have a Tomahawk missile that uses katanas. Okay. Kind of okay with that with my taxpayer money. Okay, that's pretty neat. Because have you ever heard of that thing, bro?
No. Listen, all I have to say is I'm not interested in my my folks' tax dollars going to say. I don't know, my tax situation is weird.
It's actually more beneficial than you would think. Okay, so this missile was actually designed for the purpose of lessening collateral damage.
We're getting into the weeds
it's
now.
Interesting. So, I understand that. A little bit of the weeds never hurt nobody.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's only meant to hit the person it's aimed at, though. That's the big thing. That's why I find it so cool.
Oh, my goodness.
All right?
Only on Core Live when we start off a Bigfoot episode by talking about cruise missiles.
Fucking cruise missiles, bro. But hell yeah, dude. Like
anyways, so, the Cass River waterway, it's really fucking dirty.
It is. Now, before we get into the why and everything surrounding all of that, we're going to go ahead and try something kind of new where I'm going to try my hand at video editing, and we're going to bring up this video while we're talking about me and Kaz while we're watching the video, if that makes sense. So, I just know that sounded like complete word salad because I've been working. So,
we're going to be watching the video, and then he's going to edit it so you can watch the video alongside us.
Yes. Now, it's probably going to be on a loop, so, like, hear me out. It's rudimentary. I'm just trying to get the concept down before I get really into it. So,
listen, you and me both are gonna try taking up, video editing. So,
we're gonna do our best.
We're gonna do our best.
So, starting now, we're gonna go ahead and start looking at this video. Now, what you're seeing is a kayaker that was going up the Cass River and noticed that he was not the only occupant of the river at that time. This probably took place about 100 yards away from the individual actually crossing the intersection of the river right there. Mm-hmm. And what does seem the most interesting about this video is that it seems to be carrying something almost the exact same color as it.
Yeah, because the arm on the side of the viewer is tucked inward. And if you squint, you can see about right above the elbow, there's what looks like another head. And then you can see something kind of tucked there, and it's like, especially with the stabilized version of this, it's very fascinating because, like, normally I don't really give a lot to pareidolia, especially when we're zoomed, 1,000% in on a frame of a video, because you tend to lose details a lot more.
Not to mention that video is most likely not the original video, so it already goes through.
There's already been a bit of quality loss because of it going from hand to hand.
Yes. Now, like, a couple of other things, like Thinker Thunker also did a lot of the legwork in investigating this video and trying to cross-analyze it. Mm-hmm. It's highly unlikely that this is somebody in a suit of either made of outdoor equipment or a dude in a monkey suit or anything like to that effect. Mostly because of the fact that the color of the entire thing is uniform. But also, whenever you squint up and look at it and everything, you can't really see any sort of seams. There's no obvious places near the neckline or the shoulders or anything where
the real big tell would be if this was a costume. There would be water absorption for one.
Yes.
The fabrics and all that stuff that go into making it would absorb it, and not only that. Here, pause it, and then right click, and hit loop. There we go. That would keep it from. Yeah. Anyways. Whew. Yeah, we would see a section of it that's way darker. Then we would also see like folds in the fabric or stuff like that. It would be very loose and baggy.
But one can argue that you probably should be seeing some amount of sheen off of this individual, depending on if it actually got fully into the water or not. Mm-hmm. Like in its initial breaking into the water in order to start the crossing, or if it probably didn't hit a low spot in the river. Like, I don't think this river is that deep in that area from my understanding. And what's crazy is that I was doing some investigation on this, and the GPS location that people more than likely believe that this video took place at, due to the presence of power lines and down trees on the Cass River in that proximity, there's only a couple of places that this could take place in. Mm-hmm. And this is less than 100 yards from a dude's house.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, on the other... Like, if it's crossing where people believe it is crossing at, there's, like, on the other side of that tree on the right-hand side, there's somebody's property with, like, a barn, everything.
Wow.
So, like... We believe this was taken in summertime. I'm not entirely sure when this video was taken, so if you do know somebody that knows when this video was specifically taken, please let us know, comment below, however you want to do it. But we do have some questions surrounding this video.
I will say this is just a very basic boilerplate observation. One thing that's always struck me about the individual that is in this piece of big footage is how red they are.
Yes, very vibrant in color. However,
it is a very, very red squatch, assuming it is a squatch.
And well, what is funny is that they don't make fisherman's gear in the color that individual has. Like if this was
this is like a clay red.
Most of the time, it's much more red. Or pinkish, even. But, like, this specific shade isn't really sold. As far as, like, waders and top gear and everything else that you need to be able to keep yourself from getting wet when you're wading.
Yeah.
The other thing that I found interesting when I was doing this was it's actually crossing into the more occupied side of the river. So, let me see if I actually still have the map for this. Actually, I'm pretty sure I know where this is right off the bat. We're going to go for it, okay? So, whenever... Oh, that's not it. So, whenever you get into it and you start looking at this place, okay, like Cass River, where exactly this took place. We're looking at a spot where to the north of this location, there's actually a fair amount of farms and things like that going on. Like, there's a couple of larger farms, but there's a lot of bodies of water, both north and south of this river. Either private lakes, ponds, things like that, or actual lakes and DNR areas. So, I am close. I know I'm close to this thing. So, the interesting part about this entire situation, whenever I was getting into it, is that, like we were talking about before, Central Michigan is no stranger to adversity, right? But we kind of think that, this is a Flint problem, okay? It's actually really not. So, I was looking at the Michigan Water Stewardship Program that actually oversees the data collection of a lot of the quality of water within the state. And as it turns out, because the state does not have any uniform laws governing how sewage and septic systems are designed, over half of the freshwater rivers, creeks, runoffs in the state have unsafe levels of E. coli bacteria due to sewage runoff entering the water supply. Half of the state's water. Okay? So, whenever we said that the Cass River is one of the sources for this city, it's actually one of 4 major water bodies of water that supply it outside of people's personal wells and things like that.
Yeah.
So what is happening is that most people in the rural lakeside, riverside residences, their sewage systems aren't up to the code necessary to actually break down the E. coli bacteria before it enters the water supply. Because as the process works is when it hits your septic tank, it gets in contact with anaerobic bacteria that breaks down harmful bacteria in the waste before it gets jettisoned wherever it's supposed to go. Mm-hmm. And because there's no regulation on people's septic tanks, problems occur. Yeah. Is more or less what's going on here. And like I said before,
it's basically it's basically like it's not just that river; it's the entire watershed, and that's the main problem. Because this isn't just if we fixed Flint's, pipes and we got all the lead out and we fixed the water, then we'd be things would be fine. Well, that would only be fixing a part of the problem. Because there's still all this sewage coming in upstream from all of these places that are dumping into it. For example, so there's a big river that runs through the city that me, Caden, and Devin live in. And from what I know, from people who have lived here a long time, 50, 60 years ago, 70 years ago even, it smelled fucking rank. I have heard stories of people who, when they were kids and their parents would drive them over the bridge, they would get really sick and throw up out the windows. That's how bad it was.
Oh, Jesus.
And the reason that got fixed is because, obviously a lot of people said this is a problem, and, political initiatives were made and stuff like that, and, I wouldn't say it's so clean you can drink from it now, but it's not making people throw up when they go over it.
Right.
And in fact, there are still a lot of cleanup initiatives going on in our city right now in all of the tributaries of that river. It's really cool, and I'm really happy about it. But it's just basically, really, I think if anything, even if you don't walk away believing. Even if you don't walk away with anything new about the Bigfoot encounter in this episode, I hope we radicalize you to get more active about water treatment.
No, ecological conservation should be something any Bigfoot enthusiast kind of believes in the first place, in my opinion, and as a hunter and fisherman.
100%, yes! Absolutely.
Not only is this... protect it in order to be able to enjoy it.
Because Jaster, you're an avid fisher. You are, you love going down to, fun fact... Am I allowed to say where your favorite fishing hole is? I'm not gonna dox you when I say this, right?
No, you're not. You're not gonna dox me.
Jaster's favorite fishing hole is literally right across from the Poplick trellis where the Poplick monster is said to be.
Yep. And when a game warden came by and he looks at me real funny, This is where people say the goat man's from, right? And I said, that's exactly why I fish here. I ain't never seen a person fishing here. He just kind of looks at me, laughs, and goes, you got me there. Okay, good. Carry on. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I remember the day Jaster told me that was where he fished because I had brought up the Pope like goat man, and I lost my shit.
I ain't never had a problem up here.
No.
Okay. Not to say that I have not felt like I've been watched when I'm fishing that river, but I've never been bothered.
It's a small price to pay for getting some good fish.
Right. I've caught some of the biggest fish I've ever caught out of that fucking hole. Bro, that's the funniest thing.
Yeah. I've been hunting a few times. I'm not one of them good old boys who goes all the time and, has a couple of taxidermy deer or anything like that. But I've been hunting with family enough times to appreciate it. And also, I've had deer barbecue before. Dude, it's so
Sick.
Fucking good.
So good. Deer chili.
Dude. I remember we had gone over to someone's house. It was like the dad of one of the girls on my sister's softball team or whatever. And he made deer barbecue, and I remember eating so much I just couldn't fucking move. It was so good. And if you don't live off the land and you just like going on walks or anything, or you just like having cooler temperatures, you should be invested. Generally, because like I live in a forested neighborhood, right? So summer is beginning to wind down here in Bama. Thank God. So we're starting to have days that are like in the mid to high 80s, which for summer down here, that's really cool. We're
rocking like 75 right now in the Ville, baby.
Yeah. However, the thing is, when I leave my neighborhood, and I had to go up to Walmart earlier this afternoon because I realized we didn't have any honey, so I had to go get a bottle of it really quickly. It's about 10 degrees hotter once you leave our neighborhood because it's just nothing but asphalt.
Mm-hmm.
And, I just think that, hey, everybody should be invested in trees and shit. So,
I agree.
Save your rivers, save your trees. And we'll get off our soapbox now, and we'll get back to talking about this Bigfoot. So anyways, we're looking at this location that it's likely believed where this encounter happened on Google Maps right now. Jaster's probably going to throw up a screenshot of it or something.
I found it. Took me a minute. Thank you for holding that down for a minute while I was sitting here grabbing.
Yeah, don't worry.
Google
Listen, man,
Maps.
buying time is what I'm good at.
Thank you. So I put a pin on this right here. I'm going to go ahead and print screen. Boom, bam. Mm-hmm. And where I got the pin down on the bottom left is the place where people believe that this sighting took place. Now, to zoom out a little bit. Ow, cat, what the fuck? Okay. You see about where it's at in Michigan, right?
Yeah.
Once oh my god, yes, discard. Jesus Christ. Okay. So, zooming back in. Hopefully I didn't lose it. Okay, let me go ahead. That's how I was able to freaking find this thing in the first place. So, you see right here?
Yeah.
That's supposedly the
fallen
the
trees
down
that
tree.
are on the left side of it.
And if you look over here, you got the power lines.
Yep, sure enough, there they are.
Alright, so that's why people think that this is where it is. And like I said, as you can see, this is really close to somebody's house. Like, it crossed right there. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now, zooming out a little bit, like I was saying before, bodies of water are not hard to find in this area.
No, they're not.
Okay? So, you got the Vassnar State Game area up to the northeast. You got directly north of it, you have somebody's just private lake. Down to the southeast, you have a couple of different places that have water. So, given all of this, the fact that it's moving from the northern side of the river where there's less people and less things into the southern side where there are multiple businesses, people's houses, all that kind of stuff, with its child in the middle of the day, I have to wonder what was going on. There's context missing.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it gets really confusing once you really look at the map and see the lay of the land, because it's like everything like to the northwest of this is like hog heaven for a Squatch. There's plenty of coverage, and in that
Natural
obviously
water.
is going to be plenty of wildlife. Well, this wouldn't be the best water to drink out of because it's so fucking shit.
Well, the Cass River is. That's kind of the point that I was making, including these other bodies of water, is that these lakes are not viable sewage runoffs. So they're not like, so when somebody has a septic tank and they have a pond or a lake, it's a run through back to a main line. You don't run it off into your stagnant water.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, if those are compromised bodies of water for drinking, it's for another reason. Also, interesting is that animals themselves can be carriers of E. coli bacteria without showing symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
Humans are the ones that have a problem with it.
Yeah.
So, like, it's entirely possible if Bigfoot's more on the ape side, it might be fine with it. Who knows? It seems like hominids have the problem with having E. coli in their system, or more than what's just naturally present in your gut. So, like I said before, the main questions is what's going on with this thing? Because, like, I even went and checked the Michigan hunting seasons, okay? Mm-hmm. There ain't a hunting season in the time of year this video was posted. Now, there are different ways you can skirt this a little bit. Apparently, there's bear season. I need to see what bear season even is. May through June. So yeah, there's a little bit of hunting time for bear season. But this is in June or July when this video was shot. By that time, bear season would have been over with. Mm-hmm. So there are no active hunting seasons at that point in time. So for me, that would be, okay, I'm moving my child because there's a bunch of dudes running around with guns in there. Okay, that would make sense to me, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, that leaves another viable possibility outside of something much more contextual, something somebody would maybe know the story on if somebody else had some encounter beforehand.
We could hypothesize that maybe it was crossing the river in search of clean water.
Is possible.
Now, I want to say, I have another hypothesis, and I think this one is pretty valid. Given, I don't have anything to back it up, but Michigan is Dogman Central. It and Wisconsin have the highest concentration of Dogman sightings in the entire country. And I have no fucking clue why.
No, I agree with that. Like, that was actually something I was planning on bringing up in the intro a little bit.
Let's put it this way. Alright, so you are a Sasquatch raising your young. Obviously you have a lot more to worry about, because naturally you are gathering and we don't know anything about Sasquatch family structures or anything like that. So for the sake of the hypothesis, let's assume this is a single mother Sasquatch. God bless.
Right.
And she has her young, and her young is a decent age, but they're not old enough to take care of themselves yet. And all of a sudden you are aware that there is a Dogman in the area. Now, generally, we know that Dogmen and Squatches, they don't like overlapping their territories. We don't, and that's about all we know about them interacting. Generally, we don't know if they fight. We don't know if they get along and coexist. There's a lot of there's just not enough information out there yet for any hypotheses to form, right? But what we do know, Dogmen are really big, angry, pissed off predators, and you have something small and vulnerable that would probably make for a really good snack. So hey, it's time to hightail it. So you scoop up your baby squatch. You head for the river to get in the water and mask your scent, and then you do your crossing.
Which would kind of explain a daytime open sight sighting of a child in the first place. Because that's the other thing that I was thinking. Had to be either hunters of some sort. Like, I was thinking human. Because, like, I could also imagine, like, there's multiple farms north of this area in between the Cass River and Sanilac Road. And it could have been seen or the kid got in trouble and they needed to hightail it because, guess what? Nuisance animal laws are a thing.
Yeah.
And, yeah, that's a problem. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That negates all hunting season. You know what I mean? Instantly. So, I could see that, too, where maybe the child got in trouble for some reason, like there was a hunter somewhere or somebody owning a farm or out in the woods doing something when they weren't expecting it and they needed to hightail it, and that was the best way around. Or, like you're saying, maybe there is more cryptid activity in the area that we're not aware of. And if there is, I'm going to go ahead and say this again, comment below. Let's have a discussion about this, because like we said, there's got to be a bigger discussion about this sighting, because the more we look into it, not that we don't believe the authenticity of the sighting, because like what we said, this is one of the few viral Bigfoot videos in recent times that has not been debunked. And if this is a real Sasquatch making this journey, what is going on? Because that is some extraneous circumstances for a mother to risk in order to do this in a daytime sighting.
Especially, I think it was Val Kilmer in Batman Forever. It just raises too many questions. It's like that's like one of my favorite clips ever. People just put it into videos. It just raises too many questions.
It does. That's very fitting.
Yeah.
Because, like, the biggest question that I have is the why. There has to be a why associated with it.
Think about it. How often do we have confirmed sightings of Bigfoot young?
Yes.
Very let alone on camera. There is only one piece of footage off the top of my head that I can think of. It's the Long Island baby Sasquatch. Do you know this one? It's a really old piece of footage. It's from
the
like the early 90s.
Like way up in the trees far away?
Yes, yeah, the guys are sitting around the campfire and they're all goofing around, and then up in the trees in the background there's one just swinging around going fucking ballistic, having the time of its life.
I've seen that one. There's also another one I'd like to bring up, the turkey hunter video footage. Like when that one woman had her cell phone camera out and you can tell she definitely is terrified of whatever the fuck she's seeing. And she turns her camera around and there's two Bigfoot moving up and they have deer or something kind of draped over them.
Yeah, the hunter footage. Yes.
Yeah. And the one in the lead picks up a child.
Mm-hmm.
Or something that wraps itself around the adult as it walks away.
I remember we watched that a couple of times because, well, one, it's probably the clearest, closest footage of Bigfoot we've ever seen. Ever. And to my knowledge,
also to our knowledge, not debunked.
Not debunked. Yeah, it's so far. It's like I know it's been heavily challenged, because of how close it is and the content of it. But
that woman, whatever happened there, was not faking a panic attack.
Nope.
No way. Like, she was sweating. Her eyes were dilated. Like, she was... Or, no, I'm sorry, not dilated. They were ultra expanded. Like, her... That's what happens when your brain can't understand what's happening, and it's literally trying to open its sight as much as possible to take in as much info as it can to try to make sense of what it's seeing and trying to register in its brain what it's seeing.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much about that I want to get into as well, and I want to know more. And so maybe that could be our next kind of thing we can maybe do a little bit with Bigfoot geography whenever we're not hitting bigger regions, we can tackle some of these more challenging videos in photos where we can kind of break down where this happened, what took place here, and kind of try and get a bigger story about what's going on with this particular video. And like, it's anybody that's watching this that knows the person and can get in contact to leave a comment here, all of this is very appreciated. We know we're asking for a lot for a small channel, but we are interested in knowing what is going on, because there is something deeper at play, we believe.
Yeah, certainly.
So, like you said, normally, most of the time, juveniles, like stories involving juveniles, happens either associating with human children in the daytime when the parents aren't around, or at nighttime.
Yeah.
So, like we said, it's a little odd, and we want to know more. So, if you do, please let us know. Now, with that, Kaz, I think... Do you have anything else you want to add to this video?
No, we've pretty much commented on everything, because we mentioned how this isn't really a viable drinking source because of the E. coli contaminations and all the sewage and stuff like that. We've gone over our hypotheses as to why it would be doing a river crossing in broad daylight. We've we pretty much highlight all the peculiarities of this particular sighting, because this is a single sighting show, so it's naturally going to be a little shorter.
Exactly.
So
I do think the next one I want to deep dive like this is the Beast of Seven Shoots.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, that one, I've listened to interviews concerning the people involved and everything, and like, that one it's a head scratcher. It's the only known photo that I know of a Gugwe.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to prove it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
well, I'm willing to listen to your TED Talk on it. So, come back next week when we talk about the Beast of Seven Shoots.
All right, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in here. If you liked what you're hearing, you made it to the end, please like, comment, and subscribe. Helps us all here, and thank you for joining our little gang that we're gathering up on our way to, I don't know, maybe getting paid on this whole YouTube thing.
We need to start thinking about what we call our viewers.
I think Core Gang, man.
Core Gang.
It's what we already call ourselves.
That's fair.
So why not just expand the family? You know what I'm saying?
A whole Hooverville of core gangers.
Oh Lord. Oh my goodness. So, like we said, thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all have a wonderful night, and we'll see y'all next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.